meron na po tayong 62 identified fatalities doon sa Barangay Ukab sa Itogon, Benguet, at ongoing pa ho ito. We're still looking for 40 plus. At ang kailangan po ngayon, nasabi ko na kay General Galvez and Bautista, yung K9, kung madadagdagan ng light equipment, siguro kung makakapagpasok na po ang DPWH. Yung announcement po kahapon ni Secretary Simato ng closure ng mines ay napag-usapan na ho ng iba't ibang miyembro ng gabinete para magkaroon ho ng alternatibong pagkakakitaan yung mga ma-displace, lalong-lalo na sa DSWD, DOLE, DPWH, and the National Greening Program of the DNR. We continue to receive pledges, although I've read this in the papers. $800,000 came from from the Australian government, and a lot of other pledges to help our rescuers. So kanina po, Mr. President, pinag-usap ko si General Imbang of the Armed Forces of the Philippines and General Nana na joint operations na po sila. Alam po ito ni General Halad para po ma-synchronize po yung movement sa baba, including yung management of the dead. Nakatulong po yung Department of Health. So, ongoing lahat po ito, Mr. President. At dito po sa Isabela, bukod po sa damage lang sa agrikultura, ay halos wala po dahil nagpapakita po ito ng kanilang handaan. Lahat po ng mayors dito, binigyan ni na Congressman Albano at Governor din ng satellite phone. Kaya yung kinakatakutan po natin na tama sa Palanan, Dinapigi, Makunakan, at Dibilakan, ay hindi po ganong grabe po yung naging nangyari kahit isolated areas po sila. So, Mr. President, yun lang po yung may ulat natin dahil napakagaling po ng disaster preparedness dito sa Isabela.
Well, I'd like to thank you for sharing this time with me. Not really a part of my itinerary kasi alam ko na wala naman masyadong pinsala dito. As a matter of fact, the zero casualty was a most welcome news to me. Buhay talaga ang una. And the early reports that I received from my conduit, it was Attorney Tolentino who was in contact with me, and I was posted from time to time. So yung dumating yung inyo, I was almost exhilarated that at least yung sakit ng loob, itong panugyo na ito, hindi masyado masakit para sa mga taga-Isabela. I'd like just to say about typhoons and related or allied headaches connected with climate radical changes. Ganito yan. We are facing the Pacific Ocean. And the warm waters, they say, one of the culprits of climate change is boiling somewhere in the Pacific. And so from time to time, we will never be without typhoons. They would come and go, and according, just today I read the newspapers that there will be about 6 more coming our way. In a sense that napakamalaso natin because we face the Pacific Ocean. And the mixture of the temperature does not really create on the eastern front, sa right side natin, it's the Pacific going westward from the United States. Pero yung papunta na sa kanila doon, wala man, you've never heard, well, at times, yung waters from Guam, dyan lang banda, but never towards the continent of the North and South America. Ang problema dito is tayo yung window, and we can never avoid the typhoons and storms that would come our way. I don't know why God praise us here, but the fact is that typhoons and storms will be a part of our lives forever. That must be pasok sa utak ng mga anak natin that they have somehow to improve on everything, whether infrastructure, build stronger bridges, more resilient shelters, and everything. Ang akin dito, I was talking first of the aberration that will be created by the transfer of people seeking sanctuary from the elements. And so most of the time, the schools are always the only place where people, I said, can seek refuge. And every time a typhoon comes, it becomes a problem of education, it becomes a problem of shelter, it becomes a problem of medical issues, it becomes a problem of infrastructure. So ito, it will eat a large portion of our income. I don't know how would you compute it in terms of sa ating GDP. But we can only make projections. It may not come at all. Kagaya dito, swerte na lang at hindi naman na-bypass. It was along the swath of this storm, but the least inflicted damage was done. Yan ang natin. Our generation, if we can do it, medyo sa last lap ako nalagay sa relay. So, the younger ones, the young politicians, governor, and yung medyo bata-bata, come with certain extreme and urgent measures. One is that you have to build storm refuge centers, just like maybe gyms or a structure sort of looking like that. Hindi ko naman pinagyayaman because it's only one. But in Davao kasi, as my experience with the local government, ganito yan eh. Every time magkasakit yung tatay sa bukid at magpa-hospital, magkonsulta, wala yung ibang mapuntahan ang pamilya. And everybody in the family would go down with him to the population center. There they seek help at ang ating government centers na hospital in key areas are working. They're good. I cannot say anything that is would appear to be in an adequacy sa national government. But nakita ko kasi, and I've been there for quite a time, dyan sa level na yan, na ang kawawa yung mga pamilya because they stay along the periphery of the hospitals, exposed to the open elements. Tapos, at the end of the treatment of the father or the mother, or as the case may be, the son or daughter, may magkasakit na naman. So, yun ang yung purgatorio talaga ng mahirap. So, one time, I gathered 4 billionaires of Davao, and after invited them for dinner and expressed my lamentation about the condition of the poor people of Davao. So, they decided to parang gym type, open. We cannot afford any. Besides, any crowded place, it's always good that the ventilation is open. As long as there is no rain or water that would come in, yun ang nagawa namin. Practically, yung high-rise ceiling. Then, there's a kitchen for the Moro, and a kitchen for the other tribes. Kasi hindi mo na makapareho ang menu natin. and I had about 10 banyo sa babae, pati sa lalaki, magkahiwalay. And it has been there, and it has served its purpose. And it makes me happy every time I pass by. Kasi puno. Pero at least yung mga anak ng mga taga-bukid na nandyan sa kanila are there with beds and pagkain libre. Hindi mo makaubos ang milyon ng mga tiyan niya. And the medicine in Davao used to be was only for mahirap kasi magtayo ng itong medicine store ang tawag sa Davao, nakalimutan ko na. Ito, mahirap. Ang problema, kasi yung mga tao na sa ibang probinsya, for example, like Maguindanao, Cotabato, yung kulang yung mga facilities ng government hospitals. Davao is almost a center, and it's about complete. And no wonder, because most of the series of the mayors who were there before were close to the powers that be. Mga brad ni Marcos noon yun eh. And so, Davao was able to build something very special sa facility. Ang gusto ko sanang mangyari na before I end my term, it's going to be an urgent, immediate talaga na meron tayong malpaglagyan. I don't know how it would be distributed, demographic distribution, na because we cannot place one every city and province. That will be too quite expensive. So, ang tingin ko, every other 5 municipalities may isa, wherever it is, so that it can be put to good use during a typhoon, unless it is really a massive one covering the whole area. Well, that is a different story. But ang typhoon naman ay may daan-daan eh, just like what happened dito. So that is one, you have to, because a typhoon spells problems of education, health, infrastructure, lahat na. So there has to be a separate system for this. Kasi hindi natin maiwasan. I don't know about earthquakes, but except for the Ruby Tower, I was then an AB student. Yun lang ang nakita kong pinaka... I was around because yung ulo ko tinulak sa headboard. So at that time, I thought that it was really very strong. Indeed, it was. And maraming namatay. But other than that, wala akong nakitang typhoon. But should an intensity higher than 7, we are all in trouble. So that thing must also be addressed, but that is really a very complex problem. Ito lang sa typhoon, because we have to solve so many problems away, including mining. Noon pa ako, gusto ko na talagang pigilin. But were it not for the fact that it's allowed by law. And if it's allowed by law, little could I do anything about it. I cannot stop mining because I'm not allowed to abrogate any law here. But I want to stop it because it has created a monster in this country. And for those of you who have been traveling Mindanao and the rest of the country, especially yung onboard choppers sa flying low, nakikita naman ninyo na parang cup ng soda. There are so many big open pit minings that are already abandoned and taken over by the illegals, independently of their own endeavors na mag-create sila ng kanila. And since about the time in open pit mining was allowed, it has really destroyed the country. The economic managers are very hesitant or at the very least they are, you know, we only earn lahat, what's 70 billion in taxes. But you know, when the consequences of mining happens, you spend more than just that. Civil, it's a pittance lang. It cannot cover the whole devastation of plants and Balai and everything. Not to mention the destruction of the marine life and the destruction of the tributaries along the way. You guys, if you have time, you should go to the Walwal. It's a mining town. It's so dirty. It is so ugly. And there are so many makina nila along the river. And they're putting up one from the source up to the near the cities. And the water that is poured out of those plants are black, as in black. So they not only destroy marine life, it puts in jeopardy, in peril, the stomach of Filipinos. I don't know how. I do not hate mining. It's allowed, but I would say that the time must come when our motherland is overused and abused. And this cannot go on. So whether it is really boring the hills and the mountains from the inside, or carving out a pit there as it widens and widens until all the trees are, and contrary to what they say, magpasyal man kayo dyan, makikita ninyo yung mining areas, wala talagang reforestation. And most of, which is to me obnoxious, if not downright stupid, are these mining people occupying and mining watershed areas. I don't know if I'd have to call a revolution just for mining. Revolution in this sense, I'll not use the arms, but I'll force them out. But you have to talk to the finance people because they will make them sad. So I'd like to ask them how much 70 billion can do to the country if you compare it to the losses of the Philippines because of mining. Eh maraming butas yan eh. Yung ganon ang butas na, even on this island. Pag napuno yan, it loosens the, well, the soil has something, it has been fortified all throughout the centuries. It does not break easily. But if it is immersed in water for so long, it gets loose. And so when it's filled to the brim, it collapses. Ang problema, is itong miners, they mine, they do it sa likod ng mga bahay, in the backyards, or just a few meters, or even in front of their houses. So we will not be able really to worry about how many Filipinos will die every typhoon that comes our way. Because hindi natin alam kung saan at maraming butas. Philippines is like just picture it as a round, puro butas dito, puras do. It's screwed up almost anyway. Ang mining destroys the rivers where they used to fish. Baski na tilapia lang ang ano niyan, mayroon, basta may pang-ulam. But those were the days. ang marina natin ito are getting scarce. Now remember that if you have the tuna sashimi that you're eating here, at baka sabihin yung Mindanao, do not ever think that they are fish within our grounds. They are not. They are those fishing boats. Sometimes they intervade other territories. Somebody else's pocket. Kaya nahuhuli yan sila. In Indonesia, it's blown off. Talagang sinisira yung barko. And for a reason, I cannot blame them. It's national survival. It's patrimony of the nation. So, doon naman sa it would take them about 2 weeks, half a month. And even during my time when I was estudyante pa ako, they were getting farther and farther. So sabi nila, they have to go between the island, the open sea between South America and the Philippines. That is how far. Kasi itong iba naman ng gagong scientist sinabi, there are so many fishes there. Some are even dying of boredom. Those are an idiotic way of saying that you can fish forever. And so dito, because of the dynamite fishing, good present time, it has lessened considerably. And the issue now is the municipal waters. Yan ang they are not supposed to, but I think there's some issue there which we can talk later. We can revise the whole thing, or if not, introduce mitigating measures. About the internal complaint of the small fishermen, of the big ones intruding into the municipal waters. Yan ang, but typhoons muna, let's, wag lang mag-earthquake ngayon. Wala na makauwi sa atin. Let's just, for the time being, let's talk about itong typhoons. Now, I'm sure, you need not bother me with the nitty-gritty, with the figures and all, the data, because I was briefed from time to time by Tony Tolentino, and I came here already with the figures in my mind. Ang pumunta ko dito is to congratulate the officials, the governor, vice governor, and everybody of you who were ready at the forefront, ready to face the onslaught. And I admire the preparation, my desalination machine pa kayo. We have one also. And we even have, saan nakuha nila yung, there's a megaphone. Pag nagsalita, it can reach 1 kilometer away. Pag sabi, Linda, it travels 1 kilometer, very sharp, crisp. Linda, mahal kita. Roger, ayaw ko sa'yo, pangit ka. Rinig ng lahat yan. I have also that if you go to Davao, I will accompany you there. Pero medyo kompleto rin kami because ang Davao kasi is, there are areas in Davao na below sea level. Yung galing ng Mount Apo slopes, tapos nagpalalim ng konti, tapos umakyat. So, pumping, well, you have to have the catch basin first before you can pump it out. Because it would spread into a large area. So, you have to build some sort of, like canals of the irrigation, collect them, and then you pump them out. But, ayaw kung kaya ni Inday yan sa panahon niya. Yun ang nasa Davao. And talagang ang problema sa Davao, sa totoo lang, kagaya rin dito. Talagang mapundi ka sa, at one time, because Davao is so big, just in the city. So there was rain in one district, Talomo. Talagang buhos, But in another district, doon kay Milin, walang ulan sa second district. But yung first district na Talomo district, binuhos yung, kaya nagbaha, overflow lahat, then slowly because of the topography. Pag ganun-ganun nga eh. So there's no such thing as an open flat na including the houses that would obstruct the travel of water. Matagal na we lost about 32 Filipinos there. Kaya nga yung panahon na yun, si Inday was busy scratching earth. Talagang kinamay na napalapala nila kasi, well, whether it is a pretended effort or whatever, it is part of your work. You have to work. Yun nga on your side, kay Milin, yung gagong sheriff ni Judge Carpio, nag-implement naman ng demolition. Naghingi yung ali ng 3 hours, hindi siya pinagbigyan. They went just way to, kaya pinuntahan, binugbog. Tama yan, kasi ako. Pero ako hindi ganoon hindi ako ganoon publiko. Somewhere there, in the dark corners of, hindi mo kailangan. Pero si Inday talaga, kinitoy pa, kitoy ang tawag niya sa Bisaya. Kitoy ng kitoy. Parang, halika sir, halika dito sir. Puta na paglapit, sinuntok mo. Ngayon lang ang nakakita, babae na yung magpurma talaga ng awa ko kay Mans, puta na yun. Binugbog naman ni Carpio, baka yung anak na yung pamangkin, binubutsukan Inday. So, those are the things that we have to worry. Ang second is systems. That's all they had. Maybe, yung RDR, disaster in conjunction with the military muna. Sila man ang, I will task the military to, they have every report from every field all over the country. So they will just, the system is simple. Prepositioning. Prepositioning of disaster, pagka dito sabihin na, well, of course, Davao now is, Davao is, we have so many Davaos now. So kung saan yung expected area, the other personnel of the other provinces, they would go there. And doon, in every city or province, dapat may stock na ng preposition. Food, pagka ganon, alam mo ang kulang. Tubig, pati wag. Huwag kayong maniwala dyan minsan sa, I will not mention it, but yung mga prominent TV network, I'm giving you a testimony, personal. Ang sabi, mag-donate kayo, use clothes, ganon sa kanila, tapos they give you a bank account number where you can deposit your donation. You're better off giving it to government or to the military and let them distribute it. Direct. Alam mo, yung minsan, because I have a TV program, nakikita ko yung mga matatanda doon sa opisina, they were sorting out the things that were usable or are usable for them. So sabi ko, alam ba nito ng sa taas na The exercise of hypocrisy. Totoo yan. And if you go to them at tanungin ninyo, prangkahan na, sabihin mo sa akin ang totoo. They will tell you. You're better off giving it to Red Cross or to government. Diretso mo. Sa military. Hindi mo kailangan ng military yung damit kayo. Uniforme mo lang yan kanila. Or to the police. Pero ang police, limitado ang mobility. They cannot call upon any vehicle or any means of transportation to transport it as fast as pero maniwala kayo sa akin as your president, I'm giving you what I saw and what I have learned. So yan lang muna, it's really the preposition of kung saan yung itakbo na lahat doon, mga tulungan na lang. I think every province now has greatly improved on their resources, assets. Well, one, itong Isabela is when you have people who are really, sabi ko nga, whether it is a pretended sentiment because I am just a politician so I have to do it, or it comes from the heart, huwag na lang yan. Kita sabihin ko, politician, nandiyan naman, pagbaha. Well, we cannot please forever, but once you are there and you have to work, you have to work. Yun. Hindi namin mapilit yung perception ng tao sa amin. So ano ba ang tingin nila? Ganun yung mga politiko, mabuti lang yan. Kung lapit na election, ganun pakita when there's TV. Well, some, but most of the officials who have shown their duty to the people, nandyan yan nagtatrabaho. Itong mga to, hindi naman ito kailangan magtrabaho sa amin. Bebot, taga rito yan eh. Gusto niya umuwi dito, mag-retire na daw. Wala naman siyang manukan, ni isa. Tinanong ko siya, may manukan ka? Wala. Paano ka mag-farming dito? Tugad eh, si classmate. Even when we were students, he was already moneyed. He's a billionaire. Kaya okay maniwala niyang transaction sa... Totoo. He's my classmate. He's my valedictorian. Comes from Cagayan Valley. Mayaman to, karami property niya. Diyan, sa niya. Baka nabila na nga niya yung nayan. Yeah. But he has a big holding there. Marami yan sila. Si Bilyara, simple lang naman yun. Housing lang. Pero buong Pilipinas. Sa awa na Diyos. You know, I'd like to just tell you a story, if we still have time. No, during the graduation, when I was the speaker, which is always the case because you're the president, si ma'am, nanay niya, would give me dalawang bahay. Tapos sabi niya, sige, kung sino bigyan mo. So, pag graduation, it goes to the valedictorian. Sa police, bigyan ko doon sa PMA, bigay ko rin doon sa top gun. Yan ang kay William. Ang dream niya is to provide every Filipino with that kind of house. Camila. Pero matagal pa yan. Dahan-dahan pa. Yung mas mura. Yun ang takot ako kung magtama ito along the coastal shores. Kagaya ng Davao. From one province to the other, passing Davao City. Nandyan yan sa coastal. And those were the people who migrated to Mindanao. and never really found what they were looking for. Sa Mindanao kasi, if you are not a Muslim, if you do not talk in Maguindanao, Maranao, Sama, Kagan, Iranon, Tausog, Yakan, tapos hindi ka Moro, Muslim, hindi ka taga roon. Maybe kami, but my mother is a Mindanaoan. Pero ang tatay ko, Bisaya. So, obviously, yung mother tongue namin is galing sa Bisaya. And that's what happened. During the Great Migration, yung proximity ng Mindanao pati Visayas. Kasi Mindanao was very fertile. There's no typhoon. So, the Americans and the Filipinos who got the homestead at the time, introduced the homestead, pati yung Torrance title, the Americans who introduced that. Bigay sila ng bigay, but they never really thought of the originals there because they were hanging onto the enclaves. Baryo-baryo lang sila. And they were ignorant of what was being done to Mindanao. So, most of the Tagalogs got the, no offense intended, kasi nandito yung mapa noon eh. And you know, communication was ever so slow. What they were planning for Mindanao, ang kanilang audience were all from Luzon. And some, the big ones, yung itong mga taga Iloilo, mga Ilonggo, which they have the residences in. So they were the ones who were granted yung mga extensive land holdings. Yung mga sugar, coconut. And in Davao, the Spaniards and these, itong mga Amerikano nagpaiwan, or those early Americans who came here, they were expelled from Europe, which my wife is a descendant. They were given land holdings now. For example, Wallstrom was given 1,700. That land is now owned by Danding Puhango. So, naibigay ng lahat. Nakalimutan itong. So, the first insurgency in Mindanao was really territorial. About territory. But ito ngayon, napasukan ng anin, ang termite, itong ISIS, it's no longer territory. They want the whole world to become a caliphate. It's a crazy, and they do not know anything except to kill and destroy. When they say that we will kill all infidels, they refer to people who are non-Muslims. If that is really your ambition, you must be crazy. Na itong mga NPA, they are losing very fast. They're losing ground sa Mindanao. I'm happy to report you there are so many fronts na wala na, or are in the throes of death. Kasi marami na malaki nagsusurrender at pinagtuturo-turo na sila. And we're happy with this development kasi yung pagka mga political officer na mataas na, they know everything. Pitong soldier, wala yan. Yung nagdadala na ng baril, tapos pasunod-sunod ng itong mga political officer, tapos yung mga front leaders, yan, they are valuable to us because we can't get much about them. That's what's happening in Mindanao. Maybe to their chagrin one day, baka akalain itong mga NPA sa western side. You have Mindanao there in front of you. The western side is Zamboanga, Norte, Sur. You have the central Mindanao. Akala nila na they're waging a war and they will be joined by the Moro. Alam mo, pagkatapos ng gera, kung manalo yan sila na ang pagpatayan. That is the classic, after you, your neck, after your neighbor, your neck. They cannot mix the ideologies dyan sa the ideology of the modern and the old Moro is feudal. Feudal talaga yan. Because it is centered on a book which they must obey. And their Bible is the Quran. My mother is a Maranao half. Kaya, feudal talaga yan. Look at Saudi, baski saan. It's all. Kaya yung Amerika na pumunta doon wanted to set up Western style of governance. It's going to fail. Just like they wanted Assad, they wanted a government that's popularly elected. That cannot happen. Iraq is about to fall. Libya, ganon rin. Hindi pa nasa uli yung na-kidnap na. But so much of my lecture today. I think I have given you an idea of what to expect. I still have to talk to the boys there outside. You have done well. I must admit it, and I would like to talk about it to the other provinces. And let us talk about money that will be needed to set up refugee centers. Para yung kasi bugbog yung mga bata. They have to clean it and they have to know, so it's the sanitation. You know, when habitation has been there. Andoon na lahat yan. So you have to not only fumigate, you have to sanitize everything. Otherwise, I said you place the people there in jeopardy. So, ito, the fruitful thing that I can say, that I was able to talk to you through dito, and maybe we'll have a unison of ideas in the months to come. Kung gusto ko, kung ari lang mayroon, even on Samar, Leyte, tapos dito sa Surigao, never mind Central Mindanao, wala doon, iba ang refugee center doon. But still, it's needed because it is put to use during crisis management. Still we need it, pero yan ang tingin ko. And a system that would work. We have a system, but nakita ko it's not really a unified thing. And it could be put to action kung mayroon lang ganito. So we help. If you think that you are not on the path of the typhoon, then you can send your people there to help. Tulong-tulungan na lang tayo. One thing, alam mo kasi, marami kasi akong narinig yung defeatist theory ng Pilipino. Right after World War, itong mga mas marunong pa, way above their heads, says that the Philippines used to be second to Japan, then it went down to being third, fourth, fifth. Now we are just one notch higher than, I think, Myanmar or Bangladesh. Ganito kasi yan, mami. Right after the war, people knew that they have to rehabilitate. And they would need natural resources. Particularly at that time, the frantic search was oil. Many countries discovered, to their horror and happiness, that meron sila. Though they were producing before that in little amount. Dito sa Southeast Asia, nabigyan ang Indonesia, Brunei, pati Malaysia. So they have oil. And oil is everything. Include, lahat dito, oil yan. You need the machines to run it and make this thing put it into the boiler or what. Meron sila. Tayo, we had to import. Ang pinakamalakas sa is the mobility of the Philippines. Wala tayo. Naturally, hindi talaga tayo, dahan-dahan. They can jump maybe 2 steps ahead, but we have to go into the rigorous nation building. Sabi ko nga, do not be too harsh to the Philippines. It's not our fault. Hindi tayo binigyan ng Diyos. Ang binigay sa atin yung mga pare, pati obispo ng ulol. That's why we are here. Kung sa totoo lang, it's oil. When I was in Alegria, and I opened the gas pipe there that spurred the fire, tumalikod ako, umiyak ako, so sayang ang bayan ko. Walang ganito na marami. Otherwise, we would be as competitive as them. Even with graft and corruption. Ganito lang. But ideally, meron man talaga yan. Basta hindi lang, but you know, baski anong transaction dito sa gobyerno, yan, bilhin mo. Meron talaga. Diputa itong gobyerno na ito. Sabi ko nga, let me end it by saying, for as long as we do not have law and order, itong gulo na ito sa Mindanao, pati itong mga utang inang NPA na to, wala talaga tayong, we can never have a progressive country. We cannot take care of corruption, mas lalo na talagang dito. Ma-overtake ka na tuloy tayo ng Myanmar. Wala naman tayong iba. We do not have the riches, but we can always struggle, make our country safe so that they can come in, investors or tourists or whatnot, and cut the crop of corruption. I will propose to Congress one of these days. I'm perfecting it. I'm suggesting a procurement. That's what I announced. I don't want to repeat it because I had to refer to my father. But you know, every time I mention my father, it leaves a bad taste in the mouth kasi tatay ko eh. But that was what Marcos ordered him to do when he was the cabinet member sa first term ni Marcos. My father was a cabinet member of the first term of Marcos. Si Marcos gan pero wise yun. If you can have that, I'm just waiting for some guys from the military to retire. Now, why my penchant for military people? Tell you some other time. It's getting dark. Baka ganon yung aeroplano. Hindi ko na masabi yung totoo bakit ang... So, thank you for inviting me.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.